Hello fellow YouTubers, this is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music, and in this video we're going to continue our look at the 23 brass libraries comparison. And last time we left off with Bernard Herrmann's library, the brass patches that they contain. The Bernard Herrmann is actually a general purpose library, a sketching library, so it has your brass, your woodwinds, your strings, some percussion, and so on. So we just looked at the brass ensemble patches there. So in the 8W Black Edition, we have some additional patches, and we'll get into those. But just to refresh your memory, let's go ahead and play the cue, the short cue with the 8DO Black Edition. And let's take a quick listen to the Dimension Brass before we get into the details of their patches. And then we have the VSL regular brass. So let's dig into the 8W Black Edition. So the interface looks like this. So we have the sustain patch, we have the sustain patch, and the mod wheel gives you your dynamics. Then we have the power sustains. Now this patch is a general brass patch, so it includes your low brass, your mid, and your high brass. Then we have the power muted with mod wheel dynamics. And then we have the arc patch, which is basically piano, mezzo forte to piano. Very nice sounding patch. And the 8W Black Edition is based on a very large orchestra, larger than your standard, like 200 plus players, including the brass and the strings and the woodwinds and percussion. So there's your pianoforte, or sorry, your pianoforte piano again. And here's your short arc, sort of a marcato kind of a thing. And then the next patch we'll look at are the shorts. So we looked at the longs. Here's your staccato. Staccatissimo, Marcato, and then muted Marcato. And the next patch we have is the special effects. So they also have a cage library, which really gets into detail on special effects. So the first patch we have our swoops and rips. Then we have bends going up. And bends going down. So C5 is your highest note. And then we have savage hits. Goes up to C6 and beyond. B6 is a high note there. And then you have your savage phrases. And breaths. So if you want to add realism to your, say, your solo line, you wouldn't notice that in ensemble patches so much, but if you're doing a solo, you could add realism by adding those in. And those are the three patches, the brass patches from the 8W. Then we have the dimension brass. So we have dimension trumpets. And here we have the Vienna Ensemble, or Vienna Instruments Pro interface. So there's your legato patch. You have your staccato. And you have your portato, legato, forte, and sforzando. And you have sort of what 8W did. You have the crescendo. Here you have a 4-second crescendo. And here we have a performance repetition portato for fast passages. Staccato, performance staccato. Compare that to your regular staccato. So, much clearer distinction between notes. We have a repetition. And then we have flutter, or they call it flatter. So as you can see, we have tons of articulations. By the way, they do have the autodivisi. So here's, let's say, sustain. So if I play one note, I get one trumpet. 2 notes, I get 2. 3 notes, I get 3. And 4 notes, I get 4. With most patches, if they're not divisi passages, you hit, or patches, if you hit one note, you get the entire ensemble, be it 4 trumpets or whatever. Then you hit the second note, in conjunction you have 8. You hit the third note, you have 12. But not so with this divisi patch. So very nice for part writing, for realism. And then as you can see, there are tons of patches, more than we can go in an overview video. So after that, we have dimension horns. So there's the sustain patch. And you actually have 4 horns, as you can see here. Here's your staccato, legato, and your forte, sforzando, your dynamic, swell, and portato again. Performance portato though, so you can play it faster, and again the repetition staccato as opposed to the regular staccato, so you hear the notes being more connected with the regular staccato. Performance staccato, very nice, succinct. You also have your repetitions. So next we'll go ahead and take a look at the dimension trombones, and if you notice they also had divisi in the horns. Let's go back that real quick because it is such a unique feature for this library. So let's go to the sustain. So we have one horn. Now we have two horns, three horns, four horns, and there are only four horns. So I'm not sure what happens when you exceed four voices. It sounds like they're adding more, but then we have the dimension trombones. So here's your staccato and your portato, your sustains, legatos, forte, sforzando, dynamics, 2 seconds, swell, 4 second, so we're really just getting into, there are so many patches, as you can see. Here's a repetition, 160. And then in our survey, let's take a look. We have the dimension low brass. So here's sustain. Well, let's look at staccato. Staccato. And sustain. Legato. Forte. Sforzando. So we have 3 second dynamics, performance staccato, performance portato. Now we have performance staccato. So that's pretty much a good overview of the dimension brass. And in the next and final video, we'll go over the VSL regular brass, which has quite a few more not more articulations, but it's a different kind of a library, and we'll go over to the interface as well. So this is Bill McFadden. If you like this video, please click like, and if you want to be notified as soon as a video comes available, then please subscribe. Also, subscribe to keep this channel going. And this is Bill McFadden signing off from Tone Pure Music.